In 2025, it's more socially acceptable than ever to have dyed hair, bold makeup, and loads of body modifications. You can open literally any social media app and be met with tons of different body modifications and customizations. And personally, I think it's great. I myself am somebody with dyed hair, bold makeup, loads of tattoos all over my legs, my arms, my waist, as well as a bunch of piercings, including my most recent ones on my lip. I am all for self-expression. It is the crux of a lot of things that I believe in. However, as to be expected from semi-permanent or permanent body modifications, they can often cost quite a lot of money to get done properly. After all, you're paying professionals to do a craft that they're skilled and trained in. For example, getting tooth gems safely applied can cost around £15 to £20 per gem. Obviously, it can vary depending on where you're getting it done, whether you're paying London prices, but generally it's quite affordable. Not too bad, right? Well, once the gem inevitably wears away or falls off, you'll need to get the glue removed and polished back down in order to get a new tooth gem or just remove the glue entirely. And yet suddenly you're paying £60 to £100 to get this done safely by your dentist. Something which costs significantly more than getting the tooth gems applied in the first place. The price of this temporary body modification has suddenly tripled.
This is a PSA to anyone thinking about getting a tooth gem. Do not get it, okay? If I'd known that they were going to try and charge me 100 quid plus, one place tried to charge me £500. £500 to get this off. Because he was like, oh, your composite bonding is, or like, you're going to need composite bonding or something. I was like, composite who?
But in a cost of living crisis, £100 or more is simply not doable for a lot of people when it comes to paying for some temporary tooth gems. But instead of taking defeat on the chin and accepting that maybe it's not a worthwhile expense, people are getting pushed other alternatives from mainstream shopping apps. Suddenly, that super cute tooth gem Pinterest design that you saw can seemingly be achieved by a £5 kit that you found on TEMU. Or can it? Because today we're diving into the sketchy world of DIY beauty and body modification. The availability of equipment that used to only be in the hands of trusted specialists is now a free-for-all that can be delivered to your door by Amazon Prime. And of course, the reality of what can and does happen when these unregulated items are in the hand of amateurs rather than professionals. So in the last few years, we've seen tooth gems regain some mainstream popularity. Celebs, influencers, ad campaigns. Decorating your teeth is in, and in a big way. However, tooth gems aren't actually a new thing. In fact, they've been traced all the way back to the Mayan Empire. The wealthy would drill small holes into their teeth and fill them full of gems and precious metals such as jade and gold. However, unlike the Mayans, our tooth gems don't require dental drilling. But instead, all that's needed nowadays to bling out your mouth is some dental glue and some oral safe gems. Now, when applied by somebody who is trained in what they're doing, this can usually cost around £15 per gem, depending on the size and style. You may also need to travel in order to find a trustworthy tooth gem tech, as at least here in the UK, it's still a pretty niche beauty procedure. And to be honest, as somebody who isn't trained or versed in really any of this, it can be quite intimidating trying to find someone who is trustworthy to handle your teeth. There can be a lot of cowboys in the wild west of tooth gem traders. I mean, getting certified to do this as a job and offer it as a service to the public is as easy as spending 50 quid and spending a couple of hours on one of the many available online courses. This course by the Online Beauty Courses is one of nearly 100 services that they offer. And they offer a lot, everything from makeup to tattoo removal. And again, these are all online courses that don't seemingly require any in-person training or on-the-job knowledge. Also, I'm going to say this real quickly, but whenever you see these pop-ups in the corner of websites like this, I'm just going to tell you now, as somebody who used to work with a guy that would make websites, he told me that all of these are fake. I know that might seem kind of obvious, but anytime you see this pop up on any kind of website, it's literally just there to try and incite you to buy stuff. It's kind of there to just play on your FOMO, so just be aware that Madison in North Yorkshire hasn't actually bought a tattoo removal course, it's just saying that to try and get you to trust the website. And maybe it's just me, but getting certified in some of these courses kind of feels like the same energy that you get by becoming an ordained minister on the internet. Sure, you can legally conduct your friend's wedding, but you're probably not cut out to do it as a profession. Now, these courses do recommend that you have pre-existing studies in this area, but it isn't a requirement in order to buy or take part in this course and become accredited. Now, although I don't have any experience in this field, and I'm not here to slag off any particular website offering these services because there are a lot of them doing it, but I simply feel like online courses more often than not are not a good replacement for in-person learning, especially when you're handling the anatomy of others, something of which can vary from person to person. Some of us may have sensitive gums and some of us may have really sensitive enamel. But to be honest, this is just an issue with a lot of beauty procedures. And again, although you're not training to become a dentist, you are handling people's dental work. Many unregulated practitioners offer services like veneer veneers, Botox, and fillers to the public, many of whom leave their customers with short or long-term issues off the back of the procedure. And for a lot of beauty procedures, you surprisingly don't need to have any form of medical degree to do it. So if you can't find someone trustworthy locally to offer you tooth gems, who do you go to and what do you do if you want them? Well, this is where the call of the void comes in the shape of websites like Shein and TEMU. Now, we've all encountered these shopping apps or brands as pop-ups when we're browsing the internet or when we're looking through social media, sometimes using your search history in order to tailor what you're looking for to you. Suddenly, the alternative is crystal clear. You can buy glue and gems from TEMU and just do it at home. I mean, after all, Shein and TEMU charge a fraction of the cost that you'd have to pay when going to someone who's trained, with a small set of gems setting you back around £1.50, or even a full set including the glue from the brand Laloon setting you back by £3.50. Seems like the perfect solution, right? Instead of risking your oral health with a stranger, you can ensure the job is done properly by doing it yourself. Well, no. You see, anything to do with long-term oral health is typically not cheap for a good reason. Our mouths are not just a direct pathway to our digestive system, but also to our bloodstream. What we put in our mouths needs to be designed for that purpose. Your typical braces, for example, are made of titanium alloys, allowing their long-term placement on your teeth without any erosion or rust. They also don't have an adverse reaction to the saliva that we constantly have in our mouths, meaning that we're not having any kind of chemicals going into our system because of their placement. Not to mention that anything is permanently or semi-permanently attached to our teeth needs regular care and maintenance to ensure that we're not damaging our enamel, something which can be irreparable and can cause long-term health issues if damaged. And so your alarm bells should absolutely be going off when you see that these TEMU tooth gem kits are so incredibly cheap, but also mention that these gems that are meant to go on your teeth can also be used in nail art. Gems, also known as rhinestones that are typically put on your nails, are not safe to be used orally. After all, the composition and role of your nails is vastly different to that of your mouth. Gemstones that are used on your nails can contain acrylic, lead, glass, and resin, as well as other chemicals that are safe to have on your nails but are not safe to have in your mouth. I mean, we've all seen that video of some nail glue burning a hole in somebody's carpet, right? What do you think would happen if that same glue was in contact with your tooth enamel, your gums, or your soft tissue? And outside of these unregulated kits just existing and festering online, they are a real risk to the people using them. Typically, people on a lower budget or people who are younger. I'm concerned to see influencers and adults making DIY tutorials on how to do tooth gems at home, with no comprehension or thought put towards the harm that they can inflict on themselves or to others. And although TikTok has become a social media that absolutely has every kind of demographic on it, it is still an application heavily saturated by younger viewers and just kids. And as we all know, young people can be fairly notorious for not fact-checking or looking into the ramifications of things that they emulate that they've seen online. That's why me and many other alternative baddies have made our hair look like stretchy wet noodle spaghetti when we've over bleached our hair 3 times in one day in order to try and go from a dark black to a pastel pink. One creator that I could find who's made videos like this is Sydney, a beauty and lifestyle TikToker with over 1.3 million followers. And she regularly gets hundreds and thousands of views per video. And so needless to say, she has a pretty active and engaged audience there to support her. And so in 2023, she made a video trying out a tooth gem kit that she bought from Wish.
I'm just gonna pretend we're on FaceTime and we're gonna put some tooth jewels on. Literally got this set on Wish for $2.85. I linked it in my bio, but I haven't used it, so let's give it a go. Hang on. All right, so we got all the little components. We got a eye glue, rhinestone glue. Anywho, we got some little cotton things, and these are gonna like help your tooth not get wet. I've watched videos doing this, so I know. We got a little pencil, I believe, to like mark where the rhinestone goes. A little light to like help it go on, and then the rhinestones themselves. Okay, compared to other tooth kits I've seen, this is a lot of rhinestones for $2.85, so either way, I'm gonna love this. Okay, so I want to put it on this tooth and this tooth, so I'm gonna take a paper towel and dry it, and I'm gonna do one side at a time. This is not attractive, but I put the Q-tip thing in. Okay, I'm gonna take the glue, sorry, the way I look, and add it to the little rhinestone. I also added it to my teeth, so let's hold this for like 2 minutes. Okay, I am obsessed. I think it's so cute. I could feel it slipping a little bit, so I'm going to go in with some eyelash glue. Same thing but with eyelash glue. What it's looking like, and I think it's so cute. The eyelash glue definitely works a lot better, but if you do these yourself, drop what glue you use because I need something that will like hold it longer. But I will say, all in all, if you just want like a daily little tooth gem, I think it's a great deal because you get the, you don't get that. You get the rhinestones, you get a little flashlight, you get all the cotton tips. You just need to like invest in a different glue.
Now, I'm not sure if this video was sponsored or part of affiliate marketing. The hashtags had Wish Influencer in it, and it mentioned a link in the bio, but it wasn't marked as a paid partnership, so I'm not entirely sure what's going on there. I don't know if it was an undisclosed advert. I'm not sure if it was just affiliate marketing, but take it with a grain of salt. Now, I did check to see if the link for this tooth gem kit was still available, but because it's obviously a couple years later, it wasn't still in her bio. But originally there was something there for people to go and buy this kit, assumably through a personalized link. And I won't lie, it's a bit concerning seeing an influencer of this size and reach promoting a kit that they didn't have any real knowledge of or experience with. How many people watched this video or took suggestions from the comment section and went on to permanently damage their teeth or hurt their mouth? Dental checks are once a year, and unless you're consistently doing this, you may not realize how much damage that tooth gem kit caused until your next checkup. And again, because we're in a cost of living crisis, many people aren't going for yearly checkups. Now, you can find tooth gem kits online that claim they are oral and dental safe, using proper dental bond rather than the mystery glue that Shein and TEMU offer. And realistically, I'm not going to tell you that you can't try these. It's up to you and your own discretion if this is something that you want to give a go. But again, I do recommend going to your actual dentist in order to remove the glue from these tooth gems once they fall off. If you wouldn't use hair dyes, food coloring, don't use nail glue or cheap nail glue kits on your teeth. It's just common sense. And now, ladies and jelly beans, it's time to talk piercings. Now, I'm going to confess a few sins to you here today because 5 out of 9 of my piercings were done with piercing guns and cartridges. Even worse, I actually got my cartilage and lobes redone at Claire's in 2023. Now, in my defense, my friend was getting a job at Claire's, of which she has since left, and she needed to practice on somebody in order to get her training done. And because I am kind of a mad lad and I was also really broke and I'm never going to turn down a free piercing, I said I would be the guinea pig for this training. Now, luckily for me, she actually did a pretty damn good job of piercing my cartilage, as well as my earlobes. I didn't have any problems with healing or infections, and even the cartilage healed really, really well. But this very easily could have not been the case. Because when it comes to piercings, I feel like people still see them as a semi-permanent or temporary body modification. Something that if it gets botched or if you don't like it, you can wait for it to heal and try again. And to some extent, that's kind of true. I mean, we all saw the iconic scene from Parent Trap where Lindsay Lohan pierced her ears with a hot needle and an apple. So many girls I knew growing up actually replicated this exact technique when doing their own ears. However, piercings are not as simple as you think, and there is a reason why training needs to be given and certification is necessary when it comes to offering this service to the public. So why is it that the average Joe is able to go online and buy this stuff from AliExpress, Amazon, Shein, TEMU, Wish, and more? Hell, even when I was in Japan, every single Don Quixote that I went into, even the more local, smaller ones, actually had a whole area dedicated to self-piercing, none of which was covered up or seemingly age-restricted. Now, to be fair, these disposable ear piercing cartridges are not the worst thing in the world when used on your earlobes. Again, DIYing your piercings is fairly commonplace in alternative subcultures. The issue is, the average person is nowhere near as hygienic or thoughtful about their anatomy as a trained professional. They will make errors that most professionals simply won't make. Whether it be reusing cartridges or needles, using the wrong equipment on different parts of the body, not marking the piercing out safely, or again, just a lack of basic hygiene. For example, piercing guns and cartridges should never be used on your ear cartilage, because the force of this impact can cause your cartilage to shatter. Kind of think of it as a tempered glass screen protector for your phone. It's usually quite strong and flexible, but if you have a direct point of impact, this can cause that tempered glass screen protector to shatter and spiderweb. So not only is the point of impact damaged, but also the rest of the screen protector. And that can be exactly what happens to your ear cartilage. A spiderweb effect that at bare minimum will hurt a lot and take a good long while to recover, and at worst could permanently disfigure and damage the structure of your ear. Doing your own facial piercing at home may not seem difficult, but correctly lining it up and actually knowing the layout of your facial anatomy requires skill and focus, something which is a lot less likely to happen when your focus is on filming yourself. There was seemingly even a micro trend of people using this audio on TikTok in order to film themselves dramatically piercing their face and ears, all using exposed needles with no safety precautions or hygiene in place. And through a brief skim of this audio, which has over 100,000 videos under it, I quickly found 5 videos of people doing these dramatic ear piercings and facial piercings piercings in their bedroom. Now again, I'm not here to shame anybody who has done a successful DIY piercing or wants to get a piercing. I'm also not here to shame you if you can't currently afford one but you really want to get one. But I do think it's important to understand your body, especially when it comes to your face, which is full of important muscles, glands, veins, and soft tissue. When you choose to do piercings at home, you're gambling with keloids, infections, or even just a piercing that you're not happy with, which will leave a permanent mark regardless of if it heals. However, if you do insist on doing these homebrew piercings, then at bare minimum make sure that you're watching videos on how to properly sanitize yourself and your equipment before engaging in any kind of piercing, as well as just the basics of anatomy and making sure that you're being safe. The last thing you want to accidentally do when giving yourself an eyebrow piercing is also snag your eyelid. And of course, out of all the body modifications that we have discussed, tattoos are the most permanent. The process of having very fast-moving needles bury ink into your skin should inform you that this is a process that requires good hygiene and good skill. There are good reasons why it can take many, many years for people to get tattoo apprenticeships, let alone be in a position where you're legally allowed to mark somebody's skin for life. But unfortunately, like the aforementioned tooth gems and piercing cartridges, it's become way too easy for the average schmo like you or me to jump online and with only 30 quid to our name, purchase a full tattoo machine and equipment from TEMU. Now again, outside of the fact that tattoos are a permanent procedure that do require training, skill, and safety, we also need to address how unsafe unregulated ink and machines from places like TEMU can be. TEMU is a little bit like Wish and AliExpress. It's not quite Alibaba, but it is a marketplace, most of its listings being from many unlicensed and unregulated vendors. And these sellers, due to both their location and the app itself, typically don't have to go through the same rigorous checks that licensed businesses do here. After all, each country has its own health and safety standards, and as such, what may be safe to sell on TEMU may not actually be safe to use here in the UK or the US. And this can absolutely be the case with any machine or ink that enters your body. Even trusted big giant Amazon isn't safe from unregulated and unlicensed ink. Some of these available kits only come with practice ink, which is not intended for real human skin. But often this isn't advertised on the listing or in the description, meaning that unsuspecting hopefuls that are picking up this kit online for cheap may be putting practice ink into their friend's skin. Other online kits may contain low grade or simply counterfeiting, leading many of the official tattoo ink brands to have statements on their websites regarding these bootlegs and the harm that they could cause. Sadly, this isn't an isolated problem and is more likely to happen when those untrained or uneducated in tattoos have access to equipment that simply they're not equipped to use. I mean, this TEMU tattoo ink is literally just called tattoo ink.
Oh, lovely. White wine. Never seen a wine actually called white wine before.
The cost of using dodgy ink or machinery can be anything from a patchy tattoo that real artists are hesitant to cover up due to the ink used or the condition of the skin, or at worst you may encounter long-term health effects. Blistering, welts, infections, scars, and uneven skin, all of which can also affect your ability to get tattoos in future. But if you don't want to take my uneducated word for it as somebody who only has tattoos but doesn't give tattoos, then don't worry, because my tattoo artist Poison Enemy, who did these fantastic leg pieces on me recently, is here to tell you herself what the risks of these machines and these inks could be.
Hi guys, hi Addy. Thank you so much for asking me to come and talk about this. It has come at a really good time because this whole tattooing people at home situation has gone crazy recently, and it probably is because of how easily accessible the equipment is on TEMU and on all these different sites. I have seen, as a tattooist, such an increase in bad tattoos, people wanting cover-ups, people with just tattoos that are just not that good of a quality, and it is probably down to people getting tattooed at home and using equipment like this. So I'm just gonna get into talking a little bit why these products are not very good and why you shouldn't really be using them. To skip to the obvious, these products are bad. We have no idea the quality control that these products are going through. The equipment that I use in my studio, it is really expensive, so to see it this cheap is really concerning. It's expensive for a reason, because it goes through a lot of quality controls and it all arrives sterile. The whole shipping process is to make sure that everything we order is sealed and sterile, and the way they make it as well is sterile, and sterile is a really hard thing to achieve. You've got dirty, you've got clean, and then you've got sterile. Sterilization is what happens in hospitals with hospital equipment, right? So if anything, a foreign object is going into your body, you want it to be sterile so that it doesn't cause infections and give you problems. And so that's why, unless it's been in one of them really big sterilization machines, which I highly doubt for how cheap this stuff is, it has been properly sterilized and put through these machines, and it is confirmed, sealed, and sterile. If you don't know that and you're buying it, you're just gonna have to go ahead and assume that it is not. in fact sterile at all. Obviously, as a tattoo artist, sterilization is my biggest concern, because the biggest concern of people tattooing at home is infections and risk of cross-contamination. I am assuming if people are tattooing at home, they don't know a lot about this anyway. So these kits would be okay to practice, but there's so many steps before you need to practice to tattoo with ink and setting up and things like that. I'd actually suggest, without going into it too much because this is not the topic of this video, but if you're learning to tattoo, there are hygiene courses you can do. The World Health Organization has a bloodborne pathogen course that you can do. Tattoo Smarter has made a tattoo specific bloodborne pathogen and hygiene course that you can do. There's a lot of steps that happen before picking up a tattoo machine and trying to learn how to use it, because if you do that first without learning all of the hygiene, you're going to pick up bad habits just practicing at home. So if you are getting these kits and you say, you know, it's fine, I'm not putting them in skin, it doesn't actually matter, because the cross-contamination and the risk of that product becoming no longer sterile could be within the use of you using it in the first place, even if that is on practice. So I guess what I'm trying to say, and to conclude here, this ink that you're buying off of these places, it's not going to be clean and it's not going to be sterile, and there are steps that come before practicing how to use a machine in order to learn how to tattoo, because learning how to tattoo, the bare minimum and the base of what you should be learning is about the hygiene, and these inks are not hygienic. So even just starting that way, you're just off to a bad start anyway. Now, if you've been tattooed by someone with this ink, don't panic. If you are a bit of a health anxious person like I am, let me just quickly tell you that the body is very clever. We are built to discard of things that are not healthy for us. Our bodies are trained to flush out things that shouldn't be there, things that are causing infections. Do not worry. Worst case scenario, if this has already happened, I'm just going to put a PSA out there, our bodies will get rid of it. But obviously what happens to that tattoo is, along with that bad bacteria, the ink will be taken as well, because it's not built nor structured to be in skin in the first place. So chances are your body's going to flush it out, the tattoo's going to look really, really bad, but thanks to our bodies, it's no longer in there. That being said, please don't take that as, oh, it's fine, it's safe, my body will deal with it, because the tattoo that you will be left with afterwards will be so patchy and nasty and scabby, and if you do get infections, even worse. So don't think that because your body is there for you that you should just use it anyway or use it in practice skin. It's just not a realistic representation of how actual tattoo ink works in skin, fake skin, any of the above. It just does not replicate what we use. Not to mention the bottles look like little things of hot sauce. Ours don't look like that. If you've ever been to a tattoo studio, the bottles, they don't look like hot sauce with miscellaneous names on them. Don't use them, please. It gives me so much anxiety. It's not safe. The reason that tattoos are so expensive is because all of our equipment goes through mega amounts of sterilization process, quality control, making sure that everything is clean and at the best standard before it touches your body. We need to look after our bodies. It's not just a silly tattoo. It's forever. Be smart.
Something that I heard once that I feel really rings true when it comes to these kind of modifications is that if you can't afford to get the procedure done, you can't afford the medical bills if it goes wrong. Body mods, whether they're semi-permanent or permanent, can have a direct impact on your body's health. These are commitments that you make to yourself and your health when it comes to getting them done by a professional and also making sure you're doing the proper aftercare. Yes, it's rooted in punk and alternative subcultures to DIY your piercings and tattoos and body modifications. But to be honest, in a time where people are struggling to afford necessary antibiotics and are saving some of the spares for a rainy day, it just seems more cost effective in the long run to just go to a professional. Because if something does go wrong, because things always can, regardless of them being a professional, you do have somebody that you can turn to for aftercare, and at worst you have a studio or person that you can hold culpable. If you do it yourself and something goes horrifically wrong, you're going to be paying out of pocket for a mistake that you made. So although I do understand the need and desire to DIY things, and I'm sure there's many people who have had successful piercings or tattoos that they've home brewed, I think it's just a lot safer to go to a trusted professional and get it done properly. Because at the end of the day, you're gonna have to live with this body for the rest of your life, so you gotta look after it. But let me know down below, have you home brewed your own piercings or tattoos before? Were you somebody in school who gave yourself a belly button piercing or a nose ring? Have you had a negative experience when it comes to DIYing your own piercings or tattoos? Or have you had a negative experience with going to a professional? And of course, let me know down below, would you use a TEMU tattoo kit? it? Actually, maybe don't answer that. I want to say a big thank you once again to my friend and tattoo artist Poison Enemy, who sent over the footage to use in this video. And I'm also just going to say, if you want to get cute tattoos here in the UK, you want to get a custom anime piece like the ones I got, go and hit up Poison Enemy. She is a fantastic artist. Another big thank you that I want to give is hitting 100,000 here on YouTube. That was quick. That was unexpected. You guys have been giving me so much support and love on my videos. I was seriously not expecting to be getting the viewership that I've had on any of my videos. So I am incredibly grateful for hitting 100K, but also all the love and support I've received on my YouTube. And again, the easiest and cheapest way of supporting what I do is literally just watching the video and dropping a comment down below. But I am thinking of opening up a Patreon with exclusive content and also early viewing for a lot of videos, so let me know what your thoughts on that are down below too. And of course, if you want to stay up to date whenever I upload, make sure to hit the subscribe button and the bell icon to never miss a video. Thank you once again for 100,000 subscribers. I am still in shock. I'm still in awe. It happened when I was actually at MegaCon London this past weekend. So I have a picture of me in my Konatar cosplay hitting this milestone. I screamed in the middle of the convention. You may have heard me. And as always, to end out the video, it's time for an outfit check. Bye! Now, I won't lie, today's outfit check is a little bit cursed and you're gonna see why in a minute, but let's start from the top. So the hairband that you can see on the top of my head is from AC/DC Rag. I think it was only like 10, 15 pounds. It's super, super comfy and it actually stays on really, really well. So if you do like headbands, I definitely recommend it. Again, we've just kind of gone for some basic casual makeup. Let me know what you think. I think it looks pretty cute. Now, I actually don't know the brand of this blouse because it came as part of a bundle from somebody who was selling a bunch of Mars skirts in Japan. So I don't know if it is an older Mars item, if it's from another brand like Measuretti, I don't know. This bow is actually from an old blouse I got like 5 years ago now, I think, that I've literally just repurposed many, many times over. I used it in my Ame-chan cosplay this past weekend, and it's just a nice little bow to attach to any outfit, and it's actually really good quality. Now, here is why this outfit is cursed, and I actually feel like it's kind of funny because I've seen a debate going on online regarding Jirai K and jeans, and I don't think I'm wearing anything really Jirai K. I wouldn't count this outfit as Jirai K. I know they wouldn't. But I unintentionally, for comfort's sake, I'm kind of wearing jeans. I'm wearing my combat trousers again. I'm not trying to make a statement. I'm literally just wearing my cargos because they're comfy. Because realistically, you don't see my bottom half while I'm filming, so I may as well just wear something comfy on the bottom. I mean, I was gonna wear PJ bottoms, but I thought I may as well wear something a little bit better because I knew I was gonna do an outfit check, but I realized I'm unintentionally leaning in. I'm unintentionally leaning into a debate that I don't care about. But yeah, cargos with the blouse, terrible, terrible combination.